Namaste. Welcome to Hattrick Bites. I have always wondered, what is gourmet food all about? Is it about the taste, the presentation, the looks? What is it really about? Let's ask an expert himself who's going to take us on this culinary journey. We have a very special guest today, Arjun Datta, who is the Chief Operating Officer of one of the leading culinary institutes, International Institute of Culinary Arts. Please welcome Arjun Datta. Hi, Arjun.
Hi, Joey. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
All well, keeping well, thanks.
I've always wondered what gourmet food is all about. And I was wondering that as you're running such a big culinary institute, you must be surrounded by gourmet food all the time. So, do you
Yeah,
really
well,
eat gourmet food
that,
at home also?
all right. So to answer your question, yes, gourmet food is extremely alluring, and we all get fascinated by it. Who wouldn't? If you ask me, when I come home, I'm actually looking for home food. I'm very clear about certain things like these because there has to be a line when you disconnect from what you get at work versus what you do at home. I think that applies to all professions. So when I come home, I'm pretty boring if you would call it that way, but because I'm looking for simple food at home.
Nice. And do you cook yourself?
Yeah, of course, I love cooking. In fact, a lot of people won't know this, but I cook very little and to very few people. One of them being my daughter, who's probably the most forgiving critic I know. But it's good to cook, yeah. I mean, honestly, either you create a bond with whom you're cooking with. So in my case, I cook sometimes with my wife, sometimes with my daughter, and those are the activities that we enjoy doing together as a family. And for other reasons, I cook because obviously, it's a good stress buster. I mean, it's been said many a times. So I encourage a lot of people to cook.
True. I've seen that everyone is really starting to use organic ingredients and organic food. So, what is your take on organic food?
All right. So first of all, what we used to have a long time ago was already organic. Our farmers getting food from farmers was considered organic because the produce would be grown with all natural environments. Organic food today, however, it hurts me to say this, but businesses have taken advantage of the fact by selling products that are termed organic, whereas they're actually just very well packaged and sometimes not the real thing. So, in one line, I'd say that if you can get real organic food, go for it. If you can restore and conserve all the nutrients in a dish and an ingredient, absolutely, it's the best thing you should do for your body. You should invest in good products, and chefs enjoy working with good products. I think there's not a chef out there who would disagree with that.
Very true. And I think that's why people like to go to good places who are using good ingredients because they like the quality of food.
And you know something, Joey, what has happened? I mean, this isn't as much as a trend, but as much as a reality, is that a lot of restaurants, right from the West all the way over till India, a lot of restaurants, the chefs are becoming very aware of the fact that they need to include in their description of dishes that whether the ingredient is either organic or naturally grown. I mean, it's becoming very, very common now where restaurants are saying that, they're growing their own produce to serve what they're serving on your table. So, and that really tricks well with the customer because the customer is now fully aware of what they can and cannot get outside.
True. So, when I think of that and when I hear you say that, it is important for us to know that in your institute, what do you train people on? What is the most important training?
So, amongst many things, I think this is based on a lot of advice and a lot of industry inputs that we get. The first thing is, of course, you want people to walk out of your institute with good attitude. And this profession is demanding just like any other. So, the first thing that people should expect from an institute or a student who graduates from an institute is that the student has the right attitude for this profession. Number one. Number two, the basic skill sets have to be very strong. Joey, about a majority of our students join us, thankfully, because a lot of media, a lot of content that they see on televisions and newspapers, they join us after seeing that. Our job is to make them realize that before reaching as far as that, you need to understand that the basics are extremely crucial. Before you can draw lines on plates or do anything fancy with dishes, you need to understand the fundamentals of cuisine. So our concentration is on skill, attitude, and of course, most importantly, the basics.
Okay. Very true. I think it's important to always know the basics before getting into the detail and the career path. Okay, so coming to that, I also wanted to know that because culinary education is really changing, and over in the last few months, it has taken a different turn. So, what is your take on that, and how is culinary education changing for you?
So for us, obviously, in the current situation, it has changed 360 degrees. But I think for a better good. But if you go back 10 years from now, it changed because the industry changed with it. Whilst the profession was only catered to the larger hotels and big name restaurants, our institute evolved with the growing times that changed towards making home bakers. So our concentration wasn't just to train chefs for hotels, it was also to train chefs for food writing. It was also to train chefs for food designing, food photography. And more importantly, the role of a chef has evolved. In our view, a chef is probably cooking over a period of time becomes maybe this, if not the smallest, but a very small part of their job.
Yeah,
A bigger part of a job as a chef is to actually manage a lot. So in
true.
our institute, we emphasize on that a lot. We say that, look, whilst your cooking is absolutely paramount, you have to concentrate on the skill. But do not forget, as times change, and we could not have been in a more relevant situation today, where businesses are asking their chefs to now go beyond just cooking. They have to wear multiple hats. They have to wear hats where, they're also understanding the finance of the business. They're also understanding the marketing of the business. And those things are essential. I mean, if you opened a restaurant tomorrow, you'd expect your chef to be the whole and soul.
Very true, because it's most important. It's dependent on them.
It's dependent on them. And as time progresses, Juhi, I can tell you very confidently, the future is very, very near to us where restaurants are already, and this isn't as much as the future as it is the present, restaurants are being known by the chefs who run them. You
Very
know that a soda bottle opener wala is run by Chef Anayata Dhundi. You know that, say, a restaurant like Lavash is run by Chef Sabi. So these personalities have become the name on the face of the restaurants because they're extremely available and active on all platforms, on all methods.
true. And, coming to that, also, I wonder that when students come to your institute and they tell you that they want to become a chef, what is it that they are really looking for?
All right, so very good question. First of all, when students come to us, we honestly what they're looking for is that they want to be employable, and they've become much more aware of that because partially because of the fact that 40% of our students come to us after pursuing another career choice. So they could be halfway through an engineering course, or they could be already engineers and now want to change, or for that matter, any profession. When they come to us, they're very clear that one, they want to do this for the long haul, which means that they want to get a job at the end of it. So they're looking for skill sets, they're looking for an institute that does a complete circle, that teaches them the curriculum that is important, gets them a qualification that will maybe open up more opportunities for them, and last but not the least, has an ecosystem that probably induces employability. And in our case, we have a full-fledged placement cell that helps students get placed after the course is over. So for us, those three things are very, very important. We have to ensure that one, there is an industry and institute connect.
Yeah.
We keep telling them that, look, a lot of institutes may not do this, and I'm not sure which do and which don't. But what we focus on is making sure that when you're learning from us, you're also learning parallel what the industry is expecting out of you. So
Yes.
we have guest lectures, we have a lot of industry interface to ensure that.
True. These days, I've seen a lot of people start cooking from home and their own kitchens, and they're realizing they have a lot of potential to convert it into a business.
Yes.
So it is not easy to start a business from your own kitchen. So would you like to share some tips with us on how people can complete their aspiration?
All right. So again, I think you hit the nail on the head, Julie, because you're right. People are cooking at home beyond just to meet the needs of their own hunger. They've realized that it can be commercialized, and rightly so. I think it's. I personally, if I wasn't in this business, I'd love to receive a loaf of bread from a home baker because I know that he or she has made it only for me and only made it in a small batch. And that
Right.
artisanal feel is very charming and very luring.
Yeah.
So to become a good home baker or a home cook, whatever you may call it, I think the first thing that is the most essential is that to be true to the business. Don't just do it because you're trying to make either ends meet or you believe that, this is going to result in a very good Instagram page. Do it because you believe that serving someone, selling something to someone has got a bigger purpose. Then, in parallel to that, I would say that if you want to do something commercial, make sure that you understand the basics very well. Before you even leap, try to walk, try to understand that the skills that it takes to replicate the same product again and again is only possible once you've got your fundamentals clear.
And I guess consistency is important.
It's
Everyone has to
crucial.
maintain
It's
consistency.
very crucial, Joey. You know why? Because the whole core purpose of creating a business is so that you can get repeat business. Look, that's why we emphasize to all of our students that whilst it is a great thing and a great decision to enter this business, please be reminded of the fact that the core value of any business is to get repeat clientele. And I think anyone would tell you this, that repeat clientele is basis of consistency.
It's
So
interesting that you say that, and that's why I think it's important to bridge the gap between education and actually industry expectations. So I really would like to know, what is the gap and how do you build it through the culinary education?
okay, so the gap is very much the same key focus in our business, in our institute. I mean, like I said before, that our constant effort is to focus on attitude. And we do that because that is, in fact, the gap in the industry. When chefs come to us for recruitment, they tell us that, Arjun, I'm looking for only one thing. I'm not looking for the next, master chef in my kitchen. I'm looking for someone whom I can groom. So that is in fact the gap. So whenever chefs come to our institute to either give a talk or interact with the kids, I think it is consistently there out there when they say that, look, guys, please remember that for the next 5, maybe 10, even sometimes longer years, you will be expected to learn before you can experiment. So the gap is, in fact, Juhi, very clearly people have a mismatch of expectations of what they will do after graduating from a course.
Very true.
In most cases, they believe that they'll do exactly what the television host was doing before they joined the culinary school.
Yeah.
So, so we have to tell them that, look, that happens maybe after 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, there is a lot of other facets to this job. So, but yes, it's a very gratifying process to see a student cross over from entering and then, of course, entering the industry.
Kitchen secrets are also very interesting. I've heard chefs having a lot of fun in the kitchen. So would you like to share some secrets with us?
All right. So, well, again, I've never actually said this to anyone, but now that you put it out there, look, I'll be very honest. The job that a chef does is extremely demanding, and that's the foundation behind this answer. Because there's so much demand and pressure, you have to find a way to relieve and release yourself, release your stresses. Now, I've often seen in kitchens, and this is when I was way back when I was working in a kitchen, I've noticed that chefs have a very good way of creating a sense of humor. Now, some of them actually great performing artists. So someone might be singing while he's cooking. Others, on the other hand, have a very nice limerick way of, in a very friendly way, of course, giving pet names to their regular clientels. Clientels who would come regularly and would want something so typical
That's
to their
interesting to know.
taste. And so they'll say, the mushroom egg is here. Get him a mushroom egg. That's what he wants. It's not to, of course, in no way to demean anyone, but it's a nice, friendly, humorous way to keep spirits alive. At the end of the day, they're doing a job which they love. They love serving the customers that they do, and if in the process they can have a little laugh, I can't see anything wrong with that.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong in that. I think everyone deserves to have a little fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have to rate the following before we go into the rapid fire round, if you would like to rate the following in order of the first top priority to the least in 1 to 3, what would you rate it as? Ambience, taste, and presentation.
Okay. Taste, presentation, ambience. I honestly, Juhi, so in my entire journey, I've been working with IICA for 10 years now. And my entire journey as a professional in the education industry and before that with the industry itself, wherever I've traveled, it has been such an inspiration to see some of the simplest and most humble places dish out the best dishes I've ever eaten. So for me,
Oh,
yes, ambience creates a nice vibe. I mean, if you go on a date, I want a good ambience.
yeah.
But if I'm out there exploring and I really want to be an evangelist and I want to explore good food, I'm looking for is good taste, because you can give me the ambience, you can give me the presentation, but if it isn't going to taste good,
Yeah.
you
Very
kind of you kind of lose me at that.
true. Okay, now getting into our quick question bite, you have to answer without thinking at all.
All
So
right.
I'm going to start with that. Men or women, who are better cooks?
Women. I say that. Now, let me just put a disclaimer out there. I say that because I'm so proud to say that a lot of our students, by the way, 80% of our student force are women, by the way, number one. And number two, even more importantly, all the students that graduate and as well as the industry that has women leading the kitchens are doing exceedingly well. So a lot of respect for women. I hope more and more join. And
Nice.
boys, you've been tough, so please start working harder.
I'm happy to hear that. Born or trained, which is a natural cook?
I'd say born to be trained. So you have to have that gut DNA in you to want to become a chef, but then training, of course, helps you grow faster.
Taste or presentation, which is more important?
Yes, hands down. For me, I know presentation. A lot of people will argue that you have to eat with your eyes, but hands down, taste for me is certainly a way better.
If you're stuck on an island and you have only one food item you can carry, what would it be?
Okay, so I'm going to go with Rajma Chawal.
Wow.
I'm so homely in these matters. It has to be. So it's two dishes. You asked for one, but they can't do without each other. So Rajma Chawal.
If you get to be whoever you want to be one morning, who would it be?
All right. So honestly, this probably changes every day. But off late, I met someone who I really admire. So he's a chef working in San Francisco. His name is Chef Srijit Gopinathan. Now, besides the fact that he's India's only chef to get 2 Michelin stars,
Wow.
besides that point, honestly, I've interacted with him, Chewy, and he is maybe one of the most humblest person I've met. I'd love to be like him or be him for that matter if I was given that choice. So there you have it. So Chef Srijit Gopinathan, wonderful person.
Regular dishes or special dishes, which is easier to cook and better to cook?
So I think making regular special is actually a much easier feat, because if you have something very simple, it's your creativity. You can create anything out of it. So very simple dishes can be made into creative if you have the skill set for it, of course.
Nice. I love your answers that you gave it
Thank you so much.
fire. And I'll
Thank
cross
you.
your
I survived.
hamper.
I survived. That's an amazing part.
Before we close, I would like to end with a question, which is about you, and you're running such a big culinary institute. And if it wasn't this, then which passion or which hobby would you have pursued?
All right. So my friends are going to absolutely trip over this one. They're going to laugh their heads off. So I always wanted to be an actor. And I swear to God, I didn't have the height for it. I definitely didn't have the looks for it. But that was a passion I always had. I wanted to either get on stage or I wanted to get on TV somehow or the other. But I'm quite happy with where I am. But if it wasn't this, of course, it'd be acting.
All you casting directors here, please be
There you
happy.
have it. If you wanted good food and acting, there you have it. You can have it both in one package.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Arjun. It was a pleasure talking to you. It was
Pleasure's
great.
all mine. And thanks for having me. And a big thanks to Hattrick as well. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. Thank you so much for having me on board.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
That was quite food for thought, don't you think? This is exactly what we plan to do on Hattrick Bites. So stay tuned with us for more insightful inside stories. This is Juhi Khanna signing off.